Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. In this one, I want to talk about meditation's role in helping us eliminate a lot of our self-imposed limitations. Now, I will be honest with you, when I was thinking about a title for this video, I was so tempted to say all self-imposed limitations. Not on purpose, it was just like a natural pull for a different type of title, but the reality is I do not believe that meditation can eliminate all limitations of the mind. I don't think that through meditation I can dunk a basketball or compete with the highest level of athletes. But just how I have to be honest in acknowledging that, I also feel that I need to be honest in acknowledging that probably the majority of things that I'm unable to accomplish or didn't think I could accomplish were self imposed. They were a matter of me believing that I couldn't do it without even knowing what the actual reality of the situation is. Have you ever been on the job site when somebody new came along and they started accomplishing things that nobody else was able to accomplish because they didn't know that they weren't supposed to do certain things? We become so conditioned to one reality that when somebody else comes in and they're not held back by that same thing, they're able to go even farther. And I feel that the mind is the same way, and how meditation helps us is just by always conditioning us to remember that these thoughts are not who we actually are. It's just chatter of the mind. And it's okay to acknowledge it, but you do not want to over identify with it. So when you're going out in the world and you need to speak to somebody and your mind says, don't bother that person doesn't want to speak to you, you don't have to over identify with that thought and say, yeah, you know what, I'm just going to get in my car and go back home. You could say, oh, that's interesting. That's an interesting thought, and proceed anyways. That's how irrelevant a lot of these self imposed limitations through thinking are. You acknowledge it, but you just move on. It's just noise. It's just like when you're confident about something and a friend tells you, well, I don't think that's a very good idea. Your friend doesn't know what you know. You have that confidence, so you're going to proceed anyways. It doesn't mean that you don't like your friend or that your friend was even coming from a bad place. It's just more perspective, more opinions that aren't really relevant to reality. And so the more that we work on this, I think the better it actually helps for us to be more confident in this world. And you find that it's really all the same too. If it's negative or positive, it doesn't have anything to do with your present moment. The present moment is just here, and you just proceed with action and then see how it goes, right? It's like they always have that saying of fear standing for false evidence appearing real. And I think that's very true. We may not necessarily call it fear. In this video, I've been calling it self imposed limitations, or you could call it doubt, or you could call it lack of confidence. But I think it's all rooted very much in a similar place as fear and plays that same role as fear until we actually experience this thing that's happening that isn't positive for us. We shouldn't work against ourselves by believing that it's true until something actually happens, because the inverse is always true. We could always be thinking positively about things. We could always be thinking that when we go into a meeting, we're going to do our best and people are going to be receptive to us. Nobody's going to be cynical about our words. When we go to meet a new person, we could be confident knowing that this person is a human being just like us, and this person more than likely appreciates human connection just like we do. It doesn't mean that the relationship has to be anything bigger than what it's supposed to be. It's just for that moment you can enjoy a nice conversation, or for that moment you can speak to this person about a need that you have, and you can know that that person is going to be receptive and try to do the best in their power to make sure that they're able to assist you with something. The positive thoughts are just as powerful as the negative thoughts, with the exception that they're actually going to get us in the direction that we're trying to be in. So it's one of my bigger takeaways from my own uh, meditation path. is just to constantly be learning and acknowledging that the thoughts that are coming into my mind aren't a reflection of who I am. It's just the chatter of the mind, and that's just the mind doing what it does. So that's my message for this video. I would love to know what you think. So if you have a comment, share one below, and I'll talk to you next time.